cape.
Welcome, Wargamers. Today we are continuing our coverage of the Start Collecting boxes by doing a tandem one with the Malignants. But today we're talking about the Skeleton Hordes box. So the Skeleton Horde box comes with one Mortar kit, which they suggest building as Archon the Black, one unit of Skeletons, and one unit of Black Knights. Okay, so we're going to have a discussion here at the end about which Mortar to build, and that's going to greatly depend on how you want to go with the army. Suffice to say, the Mortar kit is phenomenal. It can be built as either Archon, Manfred, or Neferata. Each one of them brings a lot of things to the table, which we'll review at the end of this. The 10 Skeleton Warriors is great. They look fun. However, 10 Skeletons is not going to get you far, which we'll talk about in a moment, as well as finally the Black Knights can also be built as Hex Wraiths. So going unit by unit, let's take a look here. We're going to start with Archon just because that's what they suggest. So he kind of fits the theme of skeleton box, which is why he's part of the Skeleton Hordes. He is a really, really powerful wizard, especially when it comes to summoning. That is his main gig. He is a summoning wizard. He gets a +2 modifier, I believe, for summoning things from the Death faction, as well as he is fairly beefy as an HQ. He's not the best fighter, but he is a really good wizard, which is something that's going to become really important when you're playing Grand Alliance Death and you need to be able to cast spells reliably and also summon things to the field in a reliable manner. The Skeletons we talked about is great to have. It's a great basic line troop. It's actually one of the cheapest line troops they have in the faction. The thing is, they don't really get good until you have 30 of them or so in a unit. If you haven't seen the video on building a skeleton army on this channel, I'll link it here. You should really go check it out. We do some great topics on delving into how to make skeleton warriors kind of the linchpin of the army. And lastly are the Black Knights. Now I'm going to be super honest here and say that Black Knights are kind of crummy. Other than that, honestly though, I'd almost always suggest going Hex Wraiths. And the reason I say that is because Hex Wraiths are able to deal more wounds. They have the ability to go over terrain, so if you're looking to like dart up and catch something, ignoring things in your way is probably a lot better. And they also ignore rend, so those early harasser units that have rend from your opponent are not going to be as effective against them. If you do want to stick with the Black Knight theme though, that's totally fine. I would say take 10 in a unit, make them a threat, make them something your opponent has to deal with before they move on to other things. So numbers is going to be the game when it comes to building a Skeleton Horde army, as it should be, thematically. Now, how to use this set as GW promotes it, okay, like with Archon and then the Black Knights and things like that. Again, much like the Malignants and the Demons one, you want to focus on your advantage, right? What makes your box unique? Well, with the exception of Archon, everything is summonable. This is really, really fantastic in the sense that you can place units where they need them to be. You can summon a unit of the Black Knights, go hop on an objective. You can throw Skeleton Warriors up there far ahead to harass units and block up charge lanes, things like that. Obviously, there are summoning rules about distance away from your enemy models that you have to keep reminding yourself of. But overall, their ability to place models in inconvenient positions for your opponent is a great asset, and the second that you learn to really harness that is the moment that you become a really, really good death player, since everything revolves around being able to summon undead hordes and legions. Another advantage this box has is that it is one of the Start Collecting boxes that comes with a character. A pretty darn good one. No matter which one of the Mortarks you choose, you get a powerhouse in one way or another. Archon is very magic focused, Neferata is very melee focused, and Manfred winds up somewhere in the middle. Each one of them, as we'll go over in a little bit, is a great choice. If you're going with Archon, I really suggest the first thing you do after buying this box is buying tons of stuff to summon. Like I said, it's his thing. It's what he's best at. So having more tools in your toolbox only benefits you and makes him a bigger value as a model. If you want to stick with the skeleton aesthetic, even though they're not all Death Rattle units, like Archon's not Death Rattle. If you want to stick with the skeleton aesthetic, I'd recommend more Black Knights, definitely more Skeleton Warriors, a lot more Skeleton Warriors, and really bulk out the forces there. Graveguard are also going to be very important, as they are basically Skeleton Warriors, but heavier. They have better armor and rending on their weapon, which is really, really important when it comes down to slaying larger targets, or very, very tough to kill ones like Nurgle, for example. All right, so let's have the debate about which Mortark to build. Okay, now let's say this: if you want to stick with the Death Rattle theme, okay, first of all, none of this matters because Mortark's not Death Rattle, so you're already invalidating that as a sub-faction choice. But let's say you wanted to stick with the skeleton aesthetic. Okay, Archon is obviously your choice. He looks like a skeleton. He's riding a giant skeleton dragon thing. Go with it and just focus on maximizing his ability to summon things to the field. That is what he's really good at. He's a good general wizard, but unlike Nagash, who gets bonuses against whatever he casts, Archon only gets them when in regards to summoning units. On the other end of the spectrum, you have Neferata, who is an extremely powerful melee monster. Okay, she was my favorite, my top pick for a long time, in the sense that she can get in there and mingle with the best of them. She has this ability to deal mortal wounds. She has like the twin daggers. If she kills somebody, she can make a hero. All kinds of this cool thematic things. She can do some stellar things. She also has the ability to make units ethereal. So basically give them flight and things like that, ignore terrain. So you can add value to the things that you already own. But for the express purposes of getting into melee and making things happen, like I said, she's really good up close and personal. And then you have Manfred, who's in the middle. He has great magic in the sense that they're more destruction oriented. Like he hurts people, like a better arcane bolt and a better, I guess he still has Mystic Shield, but those kinds of things where it's direct damage. So it makes him a good wizard. He also does have better weapons than Archon, so he's kind of a middle of the road. If you're not sure where you want to go, if you can't magnetize the rider, I would really suggest Manfred, simply because he can do pretty much everything that the Death Grand Alliance wants to do, which is heavy magic use combined with okay melee potential. Manfred's armor also lets him, I think it's like he ignores the first wound, I believe, that he suffers, so it's a little bit of protection. Point is, like I said, he's probably the safest bet in terms of going forward, whereas if you're all in on skeletons and summoning, go Archon. If you're all in on melee and you're kind of like meh on magic, go Neferata. If you want a wide swath of options, I'd say go with Manfred. Now, a great way to pair this box up going forward, if you want to stick with skeletons, Graveguard, Skeleton Warriors, and War Black Knights, you could buy multiples of this box and have all three of the Mortarks, and then just, have 30 Skeleton Warriors and 15 Black Knights. You could also, I suggest, if you want to stick with the Grand Alliance theme, kind of mix it up a little bit, the Malignance box is actually a really good value. Because if you take Archon, who's good at summoning, you can now summon up to 10 Black Knights, or Hexrays, which is a better bet, I think. Spirit Host, Skeleton Warriors, you can have the Mortis Engine out there doing crazy amounts of mortal wounds. You can have the Coven Throne as a backup, who's also really good in melee. It gives you a lot of options up on the field, and everything's summonable except for the Mortis Engine / Coven Throne, whatever you want, and Archon, which is really, really cool. It does quite a bit there. The only thing that these boxes don't really mesh well with is Flesh Eater Courts, not because they don't complement each other on the battlefield, but because the Flesh Eater stuff isn't really summonable, except for, I believe, the Dragon and the Terrorgeist are. But those are specific cases. Everything else, they're supposed to be living creatures that are just kind of insane, so they don't really summon. So focusing on zombies, skeletons, and ghosts pretty much are your three basic troops moving away from Flesh Eater Courts. I'd say pick one when you have a direction and key towards that. If you want to summon stuff, Archon. You want to do melee stuff, pick up a bunch of zombies and what else? What else would she like? Neferata likes zombies. She likes Skeleton Warriors in masses because there's so much melee potential just happening right there. If you want to go Manfred, you can pretty much choose whatever because he blends fairly well with everything. He's kind of like the jack of all trades, master of none when it comes to the Death faction. A lot of options, not really a key piece in any of them. Now, I will be upfront honest with you. If this is the box that you got into Age of Sigmar with, you're going to struggle with your early games. Until you have the manpower to really flesh out the bonuses of the Skeleton Warriors and maximize the usefulness of Black Knights or Hexrays, whichever one you decide to build, you're going to struggle. Other boxes come with a beefier line troop than 10 Skeleton Warriors, and that's just based around their synergies, right? Like Black Orcs, or I guess they're Iron Jaws, whatever they are now, they don't need a lot, right? They're just beefy on their own. A little slow, but they're beefy. Was it the Seraphon, the Saurus Warriors? They're fairly good. They're a basic line troop, just like everyone else. Like, a lot of these boxes come with very basic things. Skeleton Warriors are lower on the performer level than most basic line troops. Thing is, if you have 30 of them, all of a sudden they like grow exponentially and they become way better. Couple that with the fact that Archon is one of the better casters that comes in the Start Collecting box. He's actually the best at summoning. Let me double check my facts here. With the exception of the Start Collecting Tzeentch box that comes with 2 wizards, because the unit plus the Herald, I think this is the best value for summoning, if I recall correctly, and I think that's true. But the problem is, summoning is something that requires models, so if you're just starting, it doesn't seem like you have options, but you will once you build the full army. Conversely, if you wanted to do something early in your games that was effective, I would say build either Neferata or Manfred. Use the Skeleton Warriors to gum stuff up, summon Hextrates as you can, because they're all wizards, they can summon, just Archon's the better at it. And then use Manfred and Neferata as blenders to go in there and jack up whatever stuff you're facing in your early games. If you do build Archon, the box clocks in at 560 points, which is pretty beefy for a Start Collecting box, and really at that point you're paying for the character. Like I said, characters always tend to be more expensive because they have unique things about them, like Archon summoning bonuses, Manfred's armor, Neferata's, her spells in particular are really, really good. Well, if you have something to add, leave it down below and I'll comment on it. YouTube's algorithm is that it tries to show comments that the author, which is me, responds to. So if you add cool details and synergies that I didn't know about, I'll respond to it and give it a like so that YouTube kind of props it up to the top so other people can see your comment and gain from it. Thank you guys so much for watching. You have been a fantastic audience. We just a little while ago hit 1,000 subscribers, which is huge and humbling, and I thank you so much. If you would like to support this channel, there's a few ways you can do that. You can give it a like, give it a share, preferably, wherever you want, Facebook, Reddit, forums, wherever. I'd appreciate it. You can also click the link down below and go to the 2+ Tough store. Anything you buy there directly supports me as a content producer. We have some great prices on magnets, gaming mats, and all kinds of GW stuff powered by Amazon. By that I mean you buy it, you go to Amazon, it'll direct you to Amazon automatically just to do your credit card payment. That way it's secure for you. You get a free tracking number because Amazon handles all the shipping, and you have your stuff safe and secure, and I get a cut of that to support me as a content producer. Thank you all so much for watching, and happy wargaming.